Hello there. And in this video, we're going to be talking about teaching financial literacy, but not like in a classroom kind of thing. I'm going to be talking to all you parents out there. How do we as parents teach financial literacy? That's what we're going to be delving into in this video. In this video, we're going to be talking about the importance of habits. And second, we're going to be talking about how costly ignorance can be. We're going to be talking about modeling it, the importance of doing that. We're going to be talking about learning together as a family, and of course, mindset. All of those things are crucial, and we'll be covering all of those next. Speaking from my own experience, habits are perhaps the most important and in many ways the most difficult. And in hindsight, that was probably my biggest failure with my own kids around the habits of financial literacy. So as they're all young adults now, they don't have them, right? They, I thought we were trying to build these habits, but they never really took, and I wasn't in tuned enough as I should have been really to really understand that they really weren't. So by the time they're in high school and they're beginning, money's becoming big, a little more real, and we're all of us caught up in all these lives going on. I wasn't paying enough attention to the fact that some of these crucial habits weren't being formed, and now as young adults they are struggling to create them. Habits start young, but you need to keep carrying them through. So we started habits young, had little money envelopes and allowances, and you put some in here for savings. You put something that you want to, spend money on, a purchase in the future. You're giving them cash. They can see these things. It's the Dave Ramsey envelope system, and trying to show them how to keep track of it. Like, how much do you have in there? Do you even know how much you have in there? Right? Those those skills never became long-term habits that were transferable into other areas. So it's real important to begin the habits, but see them step in the process of building those habits so that they end up lasting a lifetime, and understanding how to do that. Now, I learned financial literacy to the extent that I did because I saw my dad doing it regularly, like his routine. He was a very disciplined man. In some ways, it kind of drove me crazy with how disciplined he was. And as an adult, I understood him more and better, and appreciated what he was doing in his own disciplined life and trying to instill that in in myself. At one point, I certainly rebelled against that, but from a financial standpoint, his routine in the evening after dinner was to go to his desk and pull out his financial stuff, his budgeting. He'd go through whatever they might have spent that day. He'd be looking at his investments. He'd be just checking on them, doing his financial calculations. It was a pretty much a daily routine. I won't say it was every single day, but the vast majority of the time of a week, that's what he did. That was like his nightly routine before he'd go and kind of relax for a little bit. He modeled it. I tried to model that for my kids. I'm pretty sure they had an idea of what I was doing the night. They might not have looked over my shoulder as much as I did with my dad. So some of that might have been missed, but I'm quite sure that they saw it and kind of related and learned that, oh, this is what you need to do with money. Now, as I just said, it didn't necessarily transfer itself into its own habits. So modeling isn't enough, but it is a powerful, powerful piece that they should see you do. We've talked in other videos about the impact of not having financial literacy and how it destabilizes you, how it makes you vulnerable, how it keeps you from seeing opportunity, how it impacts your ability to create wealth. All of that not only affects your children, but it affects the relationships, their family as they develop it, and it affects the community. It has this ripple effect through. When you look at a community that has a lot of people who are trapped in working poverty or or financial ignorance, that community tends to lack some of those resources and opportunities and freedom, and there's a malaise about that community. We've seen it. You can drive through them. You can drive through some of the ghost towns, so to speak. These communities. I grew up in one, right? It grew up in a community that had been a highly vibrant shoe mill and textile mill area. It was one of the great shoe capitals of the world, right? This community that I grew up in. Well, by the time I'd grown up, the shoe mills were on their last legs. The textile mills were dying out, and that hung over the community, right? Some of that, the old working class mill worker didn't have that financial literacy and didn't really understand how to go about. And it's taken time for that to change, and it has in that community. It's still a process that's changing, but you can see that a lot throughout New England and even the old Rust Belt, right? And this financial literacy is so important for preventing that kind of malaise to settle in. You know, I'm also very big, which is why in the work I do with teenagers, I'm really encouraging in every possible way I can the parents to do this right along with them, because when they go through the stuff I teach with their children, they grow and benefit. The parents do as well as their child, but also the relationship aspect. You get a different bond and connection when you as a parent might even go, gee whiz, I don't know, to a question that your child might have about investing or saving or something. Let's find out together. When you do that together, there's something that's happening in the bonding there. You know, I think one of the ways to kind of explain this is some of the cultural things that fathers and sons and mothers and daughters, and even fathers and daughters and mothers and sons have done different connections, but when they do things together, being part of the cultural lore, family traditions, those bonding moments, there's a whole lot of learning going on and connection that are powerful. Families who have these, the kids, my own kids will talk about these experiences around the holidays, around going to camp. Uh, my sons maybe even going the hunting family traditions. Some of these things that happen is not really any different than teaching financial literacy. Again, talking about those experiences, watching my dad, and then beginning to ask him questions about investing and all, and him begin to show me and teach me. The learning together is powerful. Ultimately, what you are doing as a parent here is uh, anybody who's teaching financial literacy, when you incorporate the mindset part, it flows out into other areas. So when you begin to develop a mindset in one area of your life, it begins to influence the others. Now, there's mindset around all kinds of different areas of life. You have a mindset around relationships, you have a mindset around finances, you have a mindset around learning, you have a mindset around family dynamics, all of these things. But when you are impacting like the mindset of finances, it influences the others, and the others influence that. And it lasts a lifetime and beyond, because you are then influencing the next generation. While maybe, you know, in hindsight, I look and say, oh, I could have done better. And what parent doesn't say that? I could have done better at teaching this or doing this. No question. But when I look at my kids and I look at the mindset, the core things that I try to model and teach, they have. Absolutely. Are they still on their own journey and working on their own mindsets? Of course, that's what we all do, right? But when you lay this foundation at the ages we're talking about, it lasts a lifetime and gives them the tools to keep growing themselves rather than just being caught up in the storms of life and being blown and lost. They have the tools to navigate through them and be in control going through them. And that's really the lesson that we're talking about in this case with financial literacy. Well, as I come to the end of this particular video, I want to encourage you to not just subscribe, which I'm encouraging you to do that in all those, because by subscribing, you're actually joining me in my mission to help educate the next generation and even ourselves in mindset related topics, and there's tons of them. But I also have some webinars that touch on different topics. The link to that will be in the description. And so I encourage you to register for one of those webinars. Right? They aren't very long. You can sit back and listen to that and pull some of the knowledge out of those. And I encourage you to do that. The more we can learn and grow, the better all of us are. So check out one of our webinars today.